Yo, what's up? How Familiar voice y'all hearing? What's going on, man? I know. Hey, it's been a minute.
What is that? That picture of the little Asian guy with the glasses holding the butterfly, and he's like, "Is this a podcast? Is this?"
Yeah, I think it's something like that. They're just two people, shooting the shit. You know how it goes. What's going on? We are officially back. I guess this is a season two. I never understood why podcasts do seasons. I guess is that just to break it up and because when I think of seasons, I think of TV shows. So
I guess we got to start leaving y'all on cliffhangers so that we can slide into the next season. So we got to stop a story halfway through the end of the podcast, and then when we start again, we'll have a story.
yeah, we gonna even say to be continued.
Yeah. Boom. Now, but we're here for season two.
Yeah, I guess you say, well, yeah, season two, episode one. I guess yeah, sure, screw it. I'll do it like that. We can do that. What's been up though? It's been what 3 weeks ish, somewhere around there.
Almost a month. We took an extended break, a bit of a breather vacation.
Yeah. Mostly my
for
fault.
For you don't know, you're listening to the Chopping It Up with Q podcast. Mm-hmm. We forgot that part, so we're rusty. We're out of practice, so we left that part off.
I figured they knew why they were here.
Well, that's what you're here for. We're this is Chopping It Up with Q podcast. I'm VJ, and
I'm some guy. Yeah, I'm just some nigga. You don't worry about me. Some dude named Q. That's what we're gonna say. But
Lord,
what's been up though, man? Like I said, it's been about a year.
It feels yearish.
Yeah, so what's good? How you living? What's new?
Nothing is new, really. Work has been the same. I'm still applying for jobs. Hopefully, something will come through soon. Work has been crazy. These white people have lost their minds. So I'm not gonna put my employer out there like that, but I work for a company that manufactures candy. And so what I've learned with them being a privately held company is that they just do things very backwards. Like, as far as most people are very proactive with their handbook and the company rules, they kind of try to encompass everything up front. So when you sign it, there's no room for error. Mm-hmm. It's all there. They're covered. What I've discovered with this job is that they are very retroactive about things, and so some shit happens, and then they want to make addendums to the HR rules and the handbook, and then have you signing all these referendums and notices. So, if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I have posted a picture of the bathroom signs where they're in English and Spanish, and they're telling people not to throw their used toilet paper on the floor, and there's a reminder to put it in the toilet or in the trash receptacles. Now, those have been there as long as I've been at the job. So I did not know the reason for them being there. So come to find out today that the reason that those notices are up there is because the cleaning lady damn near quit, because she would go into the bathrooms and there would be used toilet paper on the floor. There'd be shit on the walls. Like, it was.
These are grown people, right?
And these are grown people. These are not children. These are grown adults doing this.
See,
and they need to be reminded to put their toilet paper in the toilet.
Oh my goodness. First of all, we're not gonna talk about how your job tries to change rules like government's trying to change voter laws. But the fact that that's why I couldn't be things like cleaning services, because I'll just be fighting people.
Like, you're filthy and I'm not gonna do it.
I remember the first time, the only time I ever had to clean a bathroom. Let's take it back, first job, 16, working at Chuck E. Cheese. And this was an eye opener for me, because I've always been under the impression that, like, hey man, women are a lot more cleaner than men. Their bathroom.
No,
I didn't get that. So
no, not at all.
The guy is messed up, because he tricked me. He comes in with closing, first time ever closing, and he was like, "Hey man, we got to clean the bathrooms for closing." He was like, "Do you want?" He's like, "I'm gonna do the men's. You go ahead and do the women's, all right?" Oh, all right, cool. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, shit be simple. Man, when I say I go on there, it was awful. There was even one. At first, I was like, man, we got a hazmat situation. There's blood on the seat. What the hell is this? And I had to clean it. I said, man, I told her, I said, man, look, I ain't never cleaned a women's restroom ever again. Ever. It's not happening. But
listen, they've been on one. Let me see. So there's been 2 additional notices to add to bathroom notice. The first edition came on Wednesday when the HR lady came around posting up notices on the back of doors, and we all stopped, and I stopped eating my lunch, go stand up and go look at the notice. The notice is basically telling us that if we are bringing drugs to work, we need to leave the drugs in our car, in the parking lot, or at home, but do not bring them inside of the premises, because apparently they were cleaning up in the back and they found somebody's weed and crack.
Whoa.
And then all I could think is, what is so horrible about this job that you have to smoke crack here? Because I don't like it, but I don't smoke crack not like it.
All
like,
right.
That's a level I have not peaked at.
Niggas out here freebasing at the job, man. What?
Listen, I'm just like, so what are they taking the crack to the car on break and like just going ahead and getting that to get, like, it made no sense. But they basically were like, hey guys, I don't know if you knew this, but drug-free zone. So if you've been bringing your drugs to work, don't bring them. And I'm just thinking to myself, why is there not a policy in the handbook in place already that says don't bring your drugs on the premises? Like, why is this now a thing? You've been in business since 1932, and it's never occurred to you that you should probably tell people they can't bring drugs to work?
Nah, man. It's different times. Some people maybe used to sit around and do a couple bumps of coke and then just go back and do their job.
Listen, a lot of people do a bump of coke and go back and do their job.
I'm sure
every white person in corporate America, every white man in corporate America is doing a bump and going back to work. They all love it. A little toot toot. Right on up the nose and back to work. So that's not surprising. It's just the fact that there's nothing in the current policies forbidding it, because people do drugs and go to work. People do drugs at work. Like, that's not surprising. Mm-hmm. The amount of people that probably go smoke weed on their lunch break is probably astrofucking-nomical.
I'm sure.
The point is that they're not bringing the weed inside their job.
No, I'm not taking that shit. First of all, let's just be honest. For all my people who have been high before, I mean, we all partook back in the day. Marijuana is not that thing that you are really a good worker on. You can't go get high and say, man, I'm about to go in here and work really extremely hard. It's not one of those things. That's like, I used to always be confused on how people go to work drunk, because I'm be like, man, if I go to work drunk, I'm fighting somebody. That's just... somebody's gonna push me over the edge.
I think you do just enough to take the edge off. Like, you don't do enough to like blow above the legal limit. You do just enough to kind of relax yourself so that you aren't like about to murder everybody at work. I think that's the key here. Like, you take a shot, not like 4 shots.
Oh, I was about to say, because if you go 4 shots and head to work, you're gonna let everybody know how you feel about them, where they can go. Where
what
that's gonna be
when they get there.
That's gonna be your last day.
I can see that, but here's where it got really, really good. So today's notice. Oh, this was fantastic. Today's notice was prohibiting relationships between coworkers, and they simply said that they prohibited sexual relations or contact that was considered sexual contact on the premises.
I know why they put that out.
Well, come to find out that, so like I said, I work at a candy manufacturer. We order peanuts because we make our own peanut butter on the premises. So we don't sell, it's not for sale per se, but we make peanut butter and only make a few peanut based candies. So we do make a peanut butter here. So we have like one of those very, very large full room roasters. But when we buy peanuts, we're essentially buying peanuts by the ton. Like, they come in these very, very large totes. We buy tons of peanuts at a time. Mm-hmm. Well, it was brought to someone's attention via them watching the footage from Second Shift that there were certain parties who were having sex in the peanuts.
Why in the peanuts, though?
That's confusing to me as well, because there are all types of shelves with closed boxes because there's racks. Like we have warehouses, so there's racks
Yeah.
with just boxes on them. So why would you then go lay in a pile of peanuts to have
Like,
sex when you could really go have sex in any of these racks?
like so he's like, yo, baby, look, check this. I really got this fantasy about, I love planters growing up, so I just want to be as close to them as possible. So we hop in this peanut rack. I mean, I can't imagine
Let's
having
have
a
sex in a
conversation
bag
with.
of peanuts, girl. Like it's very weird. But lo and behold, they ran the footage back in there. These two people having sex in the peanuts, rolling all around in them with their pants down, having sex in the peanuts. So obviously they're fucking living because at this point we have to destroy that entire peanut shipment. Like everything that came to us in that lot that they could possibly have had sex on had to be incinerated.
Yeah, you got to burn it now. I don't know what you.
Everything had to be incinerated. We had to stop production. They had to cleanse all of the lines. They had to turn the roaster off completely, wait for it to cool down, empty everything out of it, incinerate that too, and then clean the roaster. Like we didn't have production today.
Ooh, somebody got fired.
Heads are gonna roll next week. I really am going to put my headphones on and just commentate. I'm gonna tweet through it, but some people are gonna be jobless.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And rightfully so, because I just, as a matter of, I just would like to go on record saying that you should, if you go to work, you should be considerate of your coworkers. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you have to be friends, but you should definitely put your shitty toilet paper in the toilet.
I thought we learned that too, but go ahead.
But I digress. You should definitely make sure that you are not bringing your crack to work.
Understandable.
And you should definitely not have sex in the peanuts.
Still interesting.
So that's what I learned today at work. That apparently they really do not have anything of substance in the company handbook. Like there's things in it, but apparently it's not anything that matters really to anybody, because all of the things that I never thought that people would do because that would pretty much be covered, not covered.
Man, peanut sex. I mean, I'm still confused on that one. Honestly, I'm like,
I'm gonna be hot as we'll bend you over this pile of roasted peanuts.
Yeah, man. I'm like, okay, and even the crack thing, like, dog, you really you didn't think this was a bad idea, right? You just knew this was, hey, man, it's the best idea I ever came up with.
This the one. This the idea.
Oh man, nah. I mean, see, my work it's not. It was exciting today, but not in the way I would like. I had to deal with someone who kept trying to undermine the process. I'm sure we dealt with people like that before. They don't want to do it on your time and take the proper steps to get things done. Nah, they want to jump to step 15, and we just started at 3. But that, I don't want to go into too much detail. I got over it. I'm like, I'm not mad about it anymore. Then you want to turn around and ask me, are we still friends after you did all this stuff? But anyways, how only update I have really is the youngest one is still doing cheer, even though we missed like the last 4 games, because for some reason all that rain we've been begging for in the summer is now here for the last month, and literally it's rained like the last 4 out of the last 5 weekends out here.
Right.
It's crazy. Like we didn't get to go to the fair. I don't know if we may get a shot going into this week, because I think this is actually the last week coming up. But
believe so. But I think that they said some of the rain was supposed to clear, so you may get a dry day and you may be able to get one in.
Yeah, but other than that, my black ass has been slaving on with books and homework and regular work, and I don't wish this on anybody. So, like, for real, man, it's like it's not hard, but it's just a lot of busy work, and it's just, matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you, like, time management is something crazy. Like, that's something I think everybody really needs to learn how to do, because look, trying to manage, she don't hear me, but trying to manage a wife, children, a job, school, ain't enough hours. It's like,
there aren't enough hours. And what I have learned to do is just prioritize things. Not everybody is a list person. I am a list person. So that works for me. I think I get some small sense of satisfaction in being able to cross things off. But I think I get some type of better cemented. I feel better if I'm able to write things down and say I need to do this by this day, and then cross it out. So I've always been one of those people where I feel like you prioritize the things that you need to get done today, and then you kind of push it down the list. You do what you can do. You know what you need to get done, and you have to kind of fit the other things in around it. There's always room and there's time for things. You just kind of have to decide what is highest priority and make the other things fit in around it.
See, I need to do that. See, my issue is I'm a habitual procrastinator.
Well, yeah, that would be a problem.
And I don't know, man. I feel like I work better under pressure, man. You know, at least that's my theory. That's what I've been telling myself.
And how's that working out for you?
You know what? Surprisingly well, and I think that's why I keep doing it. That's the problem.
So you know that you need to make a change, but because the current bad habits are working for you, you don't change.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I know it's bad, huh? I know. I'm working on it though. I'm trying, man. But you know, it's one of those things when you get good results, you're like, oh, okay, all right. I don't have to change right now because it's working.
Until it doesn't work, and then you have to change immediately.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Well, the bright lining is that it's almost Halloween, and new movie came out. You are a fan of horror films, so
I enjoy them. I guess because I'm not scared of them because a lot of them are too predictable. So I guess, yeah, maybe I'm a little sociopath, but I always kind of laugh at them because of how ridiculous they get. It's like, come on, man. You knew that was happening. Like, why would you? Like, I never understood how like Friday the 13th was still existed past one because like, are there no reports of this place and people still keep going?
Yeah, I think that's the thing about it. I will say for me, I think I always tell people like horror films are not my thing. I think I can do it if they are kind of like more psychological, but if it's very gory, then I just like the whole gratuitous type of violence. Like it's very hard for me to get in tune with that. Now I will say, and I've always told people, and anyone that knows me,
so like the Saw movies are like out of the question.
Right. I did see I saw the original Saw, and I thought that it was I thought it was very intriguing. I really, really enjoyed that movie. Because it was very, very well written. And there wasn't a lot of blood or gore or death. So it was very interesting psychological thriller. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of all went downhill from there, and it just turned into like this big giant bloodbath situation, and it was a no for me. It was a solid no for me. Like I'm not afraid of it, but it did not captivate me in any way that made me want to watch it.
All right. You know, let's see. That'd be a good like scariest movie you've ever seen.
See, because I'm not a scary movie person, so that's hard to say. Because I think the last time I saw anything that truly scared me had to be when I saw It as a kid, and that is the reason I'm afraid of clowns.
That's what jumped.
Yeah, and I watched It at about 8, and ever since then, that's really, I'm not a clown person. I do not care for them. Like I have a very real phobia, and it just never went away. Like I did not go see the remake. Like horror films are not my ministry. Like I do not like to be scared. Nothing about that interests me. I'm not going. And if you have a clown, I'm not going to that either.
So if a guy has a surprise day and you end up at the circus somehow, that's a guy can guarantee he's not seeing you ever again.
I'm gonna sit there and be very calm, and as long as the clowns stay down there in the arena, in the rings, I'm gonna be nervous, but it's okay because I can keep my eyes on the clown. Now, if the clowns start running up the stadium and trying to get people to come out the audience, then we have a problem because I'm not, no.
You know, I think out of all of them, because here's the thing, this is just me, and I ruin every film that I've ever seen. So like, you know, Friday the 13th, I'm like, it could be resolved. You just don't go to Camp Crystal Lake, except when they brought him to Manhattan, which I Still don't know why, but hey.
Wasn't he in space one time?
He was, and that one was just funny. Like, which is probably where Medea's going next. We already talked about that, but yeah. And when you think about Chucky, this is funny. High conversation without being high. So I'm asking my wife, I said, so is Chucky, he's a doll. Is he have maintained the strength of a human, or is he got like doll strength? I'm like
I think it's human strength, because I've asked this question before too, and that's what I was told, because I was very confused, because I've seen Child's Play, and I was just like, I don't get it. Like, the doll jumped on these people, but it's still a doll filled with cotton. So you're telling me that you could not push a cotton-filled doll with a plastic head off of you while it tried to stab you? Like, something about this is not adding up.
See, that was my problem. I started thinking about the physics of it, and from there you start ruining the film, because you're like, look, the doll is like 2 foot. You just kick it. That's a wrap. That's in the story.
That would be true. I did see Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and I loved that movie.
Well, that's because
maybe because it was very stupid and not
it was a spoof.
Scary at all.
That's like watching Leprechaun in the Hood. It's like you have no choice but to laugh at it.
Fair. Now, are you going to do any haunted houses this Halloween?
Not yet. So when they get older, I do want to bring them to Fright Fest at Six Flags. I remember I went to the last one for Astroworld, and for all my people who don't know, that Astroworld was also a Six Flags theme park that was in Houston before the Texans came through and bought them out and then tore it down and didn't even win anything yet. Disrespectful. But
right.
You know, so the last year they had Fright Fest was like our freshman year in college. And I went, you know, I like going to haunted houses, because I guess I don't get afraid of, because I know, hey, they can't touch you. So it's not going to be scary there. Even though when we were at Universal, my wife was rolling around on the ground when we were at, the Walking Dead one, but not yet though. When they get older, we're probably going to start going.
Yeah, she had to bear crawl away from those people. I'm with her. I would have military crawled my ass the fuck out the door.
Literally fell down, backed up, really almost turned around and ran out. It was hilarious. I wish I could have recorded it, but they didn't want you to have your phone out, so I was like, all right, cool.
She did better than I did. I mean, I passed out at a haunted house, so I think she did somewhat better than I did.
Wait. Passed out? Which? Okay. Local haunted house or like some big haunted house? And you gotta tell that story. What happened?
So it was like a big haunted house in the town, but it wasn't like one of those like amusement park or anything like that. It was just like a local haunted house. So like I said, everybody knows that I'm not a scary person. I'm not a scary costume person. I'm not a horror movie person. So I really do not do haunted houses. And the person I was dating a guy very briefly in college, and he was like, oh, me and a group of friends are going to go. You should go with us. It'll be fun. And I'm telling him, I'm like, look, I don't really do that. That's not my thing. He's like, seriously, it'll be a good time. Please come with me. I'm begging. And I'm like, hey, I'm just going to tell you up front, I'm afraid of clowns. So if we're going, like, if there's clowns, I'm not going in. And he was like, hey, babe, don't worry about it. I got you. If the clowns come, I'm going to cover your eyes. You'll be fine.
Sound like a setup.
Yeah, so obviously, in hindsight, obviously he set me up for the okie doke, and I should have been, paying more attention. But I'm like, okay, I like him. All right, we gonna go. Babe's got me. Babe's gonna cover my eyes. Babe's gonna keep me from the clowns. Boom. So we show up. Good as I felt, I'm like, okay, I'm nervous, but we're gonna go in. We get in there, and it's, it's scary, but it's not bad. I even start to loosen up a little bit, start to feel slightly better about being there. Like, I'm scared shitless, but I'm around other people, so it kind of gives me a little bit more courage to go through and not be a sissy, or to be, I guess, a scared cat about it. Let me not say sissy. A scared cat about it. Well, we get to one room, and we're running from the people, laughing, having, whatever. So we get to one room. It's towards the end of the haunted house. Well, it is like a giant fun house type of room. So it's got mirrors on the walls and doors and like a swirl pattern, like that black and white kind of swirl pattern, and a strobe light. It's completely dark. So basically you have all these mirrors and stuff. So you're trying to find a door to open to get out of the room. So we're pulling on the doors and stuff. I noticed one kind of door from the corner behind one of the mirrors, which I guess one of the doors has a mirror on the front of it, so you can't tell it's a door. So something comes out of this mirror. Now I'm not scared because the room's pretty big and we're at the front of the room. The thing is on the far end of the room. So I'm not super frightened by this at this point. Mm-hmm. Now we keep playing with these doors. We're trying to get the right door because apparently if you get the right door, it leads you out into the fresh air. Thing's over. We're pulling on these doors. Every time them strobe lights will blink, this figure kept getting closer and closer to us. And I'm like, hey guys, there's something in the corner. Hey guys, it's in the middle of the room. Hey, does anybody see this? And they're just laughing, having a good ass time. I turned back one more time to the guy I was with, and I was like, hey, seriously, come look at this. There's something over here by us. I turned back around. It touched me on the shoulder. I look up. There is a hand on my shoulder. It is a clown missing half its face, waving a machete. And that is all I remember.
I'm sorry.
Why are you laughing at my face?
Because I'm picturing it right now with you all of a sudden like, oh, like oh,
I fainted at the clown's feet. Like me and the clown were one. I fainted into the clown's arms like I had swooned, and the clown had told me that I loved it, that he loved me. So I woke up outside on a bale of hay with a white lady waving a granola bar in my face. And she was like, you really got to eat before you come to these things. And I pushed out, but I was like, I ate, thank you very much. So I'm pissed at this point. So I go looking for this man, and I'm just like, you said you were going to protect me. He was like, I got scared. I ran shit.
Hey, he said, I thought you was behind me.
He ran and left me with the clown in my house.
He said you was supposed to be paying attention and stay on his ass. Like, hey, stay by me. If I move, you move.
I told the man that there was something in the room. And when the clown got close enough to touch me, and he done whipped out the machete, he ran.
Ooh, ghosted. I guess, is that a good time to ghost somebody?
What a beautiful reference. Yeah, he got me. Needless to say, I demanded to go home, and we didn't go on any further dates.
Hey, we get another shot. You be like, look, this time ain't no clowns.
No, he left me. He pretty much left me to die with that clown. Like I thought I was gone. I thought it was over and done with. I thought life had ceased. No. He left me to die, as far as I'm concerned.
Really? He left you to die in an entertainment spot.
He left me to imaginary die in the haunted house with the fake clown with the fake half his face missing with the rubber machete. He absolutely did.
You know what? I ain't gonna lie though. You know what I always wanted to try? I do want to get a group of people. Is those little like murder mystery type of activity? You ever
like
heard about those?
Escape rooms or like
yeah, kind of
murder
like
mystery dinner?
Probably both. I'll be interested in both.
That would be fun. I've been super into true crime lately, so now I'm just like obsessed with everyone's like murder, death, and disappearance. So I'd be fascinated by
that. Yeah, play real life Clue.
Yes. I want to be. I want to be Professor Plum.
All right.
that really speaks to me. I think purple is my color, and I would like to murder them in the observatory with a wrench. That just sounds that sounds very me. That sounds like me. Yeah. Very hands on. I think that's my calling.
Hey man,
murdering people in conservatories with wrenches.
Yeah, I think they actually have them. I think they have one out here. I might have to look into it to see how much. Now, if they be trying to charge you out the ass, I'm like, look, we got to save for that. But
look, guys. So can we just play Clue on a regular board then?
Hey, yeah, you're right. Can we just sit down in the area? You ain't got to start anything up. We just gonna bring our own board games. That work?
Yeah. It's like, how much is that if we just bring our own game of Clue and you just maybe serve us some drinks? How
about you let us do the first 30 minutes and then we pay as we go from there? That works.
Put us on a payment plan. We'll figure
it out. Sir, madam, can you please exit the premises? We don't want to have to call anybody on you. Oh, man. Speaking of calling, you know what? I guess people aren't learning. I guess, it kind of goes with what I was saying. You know how if I do do something that I know is wrong, but it still works out. In the end, we're seeing that really trend a lot more. Continuing to trend, especially with calling the cops on certain persons. We'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So of course we got another hashtag. Of course I've been kind of following this Cornerstone Caroline. Man, whoever come up with these names, I love the internet, man. Y'all make work so easy. Y'all got the hashtags, y'all got the punchlines, all that going. So, all right. So, how long ago did this say? I know it's been a while, and I know the young man actually was on Good Morning America. So, for all the people who may or may not know, there was a 9-year-old boy who was accused of groping a white lady in the store. Apparently, she claimed that he had grabbed her on her. Well, claimed he groped her. They didn't say where he touched her. And of course, I think based on surveillance, I think just the backpack or something brushed against her. But even then, okay, I'll just ask you this question: how many times have you go in a place and you accidentally brush against somebody's kid? Anyway.
Or had their kid brush against me several times. I mean, especially if you're somewhere crowded, you bump into each other, you apologize, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And there's like, oh, it's okay, I understand, because you're in a crowded place.
Yeah, I swear I've almost run over, I don't know how many little children, because they just run in different places. I kind of have to do a little quick spin move to make sure I don't knock them over. I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, man, your kid almost killed me. I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, which is what happened in the case of Corner Store Caroline. This young man brushed fire with a backpack, and she called the police, and she called 911. And she said that she was sexually assaulted, that he grabbed her, and she said her ass in the video. She said he grabbed her ass, okay. Sexually assaulted. And then she essentially got into, an argument with his mother, and was telling him that she was the police. So you have this child who was crying, the younger sister who was also crying, and the mom sitting there, and they are terrified because in their minds they're thinking this white woman is calling the police, and the police are going to come and either take this 10-year-old baby to jail or his mom to jail or both of them to jail in their minds.
I mean, is there any reason to think otherwise?
There isn't. Now, first off, I just want to start this by saying, quit giving these people these cute ass nicknames because y'all make it sound like it's harmless when we do that. And I get that Black people like to make jokes of suffering because it makes it easier to deal with. Mm-hmm. And we try to make the best of everything. And I love my people for that because in some instances it is okay to joke about things and make jokes of it. But I think we've gone over the threshold of it being funny and making light of something that is really, really shitty to the point where now it seems like these people are harmless and, oh, well.
It's just a misunderstanding.
And it's just a misunderstanding. And I think that we've gotten really, really far past that point. And I'm so sick of us giving these people names and being like, oh, it's okay. It's not okay. They need to start finding these people. If you're calling the police and filing false reports against people, you need to be fined or written a ticket or you need to go to jail or you need to be arrested.
I am all imprisoning these people or making them go to a holding cell or giving them a great amount of fines for improper use of 911 emergency systems.
Because
that's
it is
exactly what is being done.
It is a waste of taxpayers' money, and in the cause and the climate that we are in currently in our country, it is unfair for us all to believe that when you are calling the police, you do not understand the gravity of what you are doing. I do not believe that these grown women and men do not feel or understand the gravity of what they are doing when they are calling the police on Black people when they have seemingly harmless interactions with them. They know what they're doing. They know that it is a possibility that these people could be murdered unless these people have never watched the news, do not have the internet, and just don't give a fuck. I do not believe that is the case for any of them. So you're doing this knowing that when the police get there, that these people are going to be harassed and questioned. And I'm just tired of white people feeling like they can use 911 and emergency systems as a buffer or their own personal cleanup when they don't want to have to deal with the harsh realities of the fact that they're racist or prejudiced.
Mm-hmm. Amen to all of that but I think that's another thing is like what needs to be put in place to sort out these type of cases, because there needs to be somebody, I don't know if it's a dispatch or there needs to be something that will designate if that is an emergency or not for you to be calling us for. And
here's the
ma'am,
thing.
we're going to hang up and don't call back for this particular situation.
And then I think if they legitimately started finding these people and enforcing the fact that you cannot just call 911 for any old fucking thing, then that would help. But what happens is these cities have already wasted taxpayer money, so they feel reticent to arrest these people or fine them in any way. And it's unfair. You have inconvenienced people because you believed this person or whatever bullshit they've told you on the phone, and now here you are. And the part that really infuriates me past that is the fact that when the police show up, because here's the thing, the police are going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and they show up, and then they immediately go to the person, the black person, whoever it is, and then they are asking them questions. Well, why didn't you just give it to her? Why didn't you just let her see what she wanted to see? Why didn't you just why should I have to?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a citizen. I'm a private citizen just like this person is. And while I understand that they called the police, you need to harass them too. If they come to you and say that I did XYZ, or this person is here and they don't have a pool pass. Are you fucking serious? This person grabbed my butt in a crowded grocery store, right? Everybody else was around was like, no, officer, that's not what happened at all. So we got to run this up. So basically, you intimidate people, and then when you get there, instead of being an impartial party and not having any biases in the situation to try to de-escalate it, you immediately go to the person complaining and then say, oh, well, what'd they do to you? Oh, well, why didn't you just let her have whatever she wanted? I don't fucking have to.
That's the thing, is like, they don't even go through and one, I think they don't even really want to deal with it, honestly. They just want to say, look, let me arrest somebody and we're going to go about our business. And the thing is like, when you call on somebody, the burden of proof is on you. Why aren't these people told okay, tell me what happened. All right, cool. All right, now you tell me what happened. Because then again, it's going to be hearsay, she said. And then again, why didn't they say, okay, well, if you're saying that's what happened, let's go review the tape. Let's all sit down and review the tape and see what happened.
They reviewed the tape and she apologized. And she's like, young man, I don't know your name, but I apologize. I'm sorry.
Kiss my entire ass is what I was saying.
And essentially he was just like, no, I don't accept her apology. There's something wrong with her.
Yeah.
And I agree with him 100%. Now he has since went on, like he's since done an interview with like ABC or something. He said that he forgave her, but I think that he was right in his original mode of thinking. Why should I have to forgive you for what could have essentially been a death sentence for me? Mm-hmm. How am I supposed to just forgive you for calling the police knowing that they would come down there because you said some little black boy assaulted you? That child could have been the next Emmett Till. That child could have been the next Trayvon Martin. And then you would still go about your day and be like, oh, I was wrong. Oh, well, still alive, still going to see your kids every day. And it's wrong. And I'm tired.
She hit him with the my bad Playboy.
She players fuck up too. Like she definitely did.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what it would take. These people are getting fired from their jobs. They're getting barred from, what else do you need to have happen to you? So at this point, if you getting fired from your job or people posting you on the internet people can see that you're a complete crazy person or a racist, bigoted asshole, and that's not enough, then we need to change the way that we view it from the policing side. These people should be fined. They should be arrested, and police officers should be trained that when they hear certain words or certain things triggered by a call, I understand. Here's the thing. Let me backtrack, because I understand that police officers, when they are alerted to a call with a possible situation, they do have to go check it out.
Yes.
Because if they don't go, and then something legitimately has happened, then it is on them and they could lose their jobs.
Exactly.
So I get it. So I'm not going to sit here and tell people that the police shouldn't come or whatever. I get it. They have to show up, but they need to be trained when they get there to realize that some situations are complete bullshit and being like, okay, so you called 911 and wasted money for me to come out here because of what?
Mm-hmm. As I said, there needs to be hit, because of course they lose a job, but they can get another job. And it needs to be something that hit them in their pocket or take their time away. That's it.
They ought to be. I mean, and even if you don't want to find them, they ought to have to do community service
They
at
got
the
to do
bare minimum.
something.
You ought to have to do 20 hours of community service, and not at some cushy shit like you need to go work at the soup kitchen or pick up trash or something. I want you to feel it. I want you to think twice about the next time you call because you're inconvenienced by something that a black person did. I'm so sick of that shit, and it's just it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
and
no, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's a lot, and I guess class coming, but it's like there needs to be some kind of protocol behind all of this because eventually it's going to continue to get worse because there's no repercussions for doing it. Like what happened to the woman who called on the black folks barbecuing in Oakland? Nothing.
Nothing ever happens to any of these people.
No, nothing happens to them, so they just go about their business
until they call out about the next black person who's inconvenienced them, and it's unfortunate. And I think this one struck a chord with a lot of people because he was 10 years old.
Yeah, he's a baby.
He's a baby, and we remember these images of other children that have gotten killed, of our black boys that they always try to pretend are way older and wiser beyond their years to try to make them seem like they're these big, scary Negroes or whatever it is, when in fact that's not the case. They are kids just like their children are kids, and they need to be allowed to be children. And it's just, it's crazy to me because like I tweeted about this a few days ago, and I was just like, it scares me. I don't have kids. I have a godson. He's 5 years old. And it scares me because you send your kids out in the world, your niece, your nephews, your brothers, your cousins, your kids, and you send these little black boys out into the world having to have these talks with them about how to interact with police, how to try to make themselves seem to take up less space, to be non-threatening to people, to always smile and be friendly. That way people don't consider you a threat. And it shouldn't have to be that way. But if you don't have that talk, then you run the risk of sending your kids out the door and never seeing them again.
Look, I told about my experiences with him, and then, like I said, I think I told one guy at work. It was actually funny because he brought a point to me that there are schools that are now teaching black kids how to speak to cops, how to interact with them. And I was like, ain't that a bitch?
And there's still no guarantee that you come home alive. And that is the part that is disturbing. You're teaching these kids that they need to act a certain way with the police officers. And that still doesn't guarantee that they're going to come home in one piece. So what is the point?
I don't know, because I think there's sometimes, because he asked me, and I said, yeah, I had bad run-ins with him. I had one that asked me for some reason out the blue. We got pulled over, and he pulled me out and said, have I ever been to jail before? And I was like, what? No, what? And it was another one as a teenager. We got harassed by one because he thought I was trying to sneak into a movie. And I told him, no, I wasn't. I explained everything to him, but he wanted me out of his sight. And that was a brother. Because I told him, I said, look, sometimes I see the badge more than I see who they are. Because sometimes that shit go to their head. It all depends. As much as I know some good ones, I know some great people who are, you also got the assholes in every job.
Absolutely. So by all means, we're not anti-cop at Chopping Up Q, but we just know that with, like you said, with every job there are some bad apples, and we're just saying that we want you to hold these people accountable for their actions. It's not that everyone is horrible, but the people that are horrible, there needs to be some kind of consequences.
Screw that. I am against them when they write me tickets. They know they can't let me go. You know that moment when you get caught. You get caught speeding, and you see the motorcycle cop in the last minute. You like, damn, I know he got me. Anyways, go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of letting things go, the hot news on the street is that Diddy and Cassie broke up. And if you know anything about Diddy, he always keeps a beautiful woman on his arm. Everybody from Kim Porter to J-Lo, but he has been dating Cassie for about 11 years off and on.
Mm-hmm.
So they broke up, and people, of course, went to the internet to go crazy about it. And the narrative that I heard a lot was he wasted her time, 11 years without a ring. I could never, that would never be me, this, that, and the third. And I think it brings up an interesting question. So I wanted to ask you, do you think that there is a specific amount of time that you are in a relationship specific, I guess, or a certain amount of time that you can be in a relationship without feeling like your time was wasted? Is there a threshold for that? Like, is it, we're good up to this point and anything past this, you're wasting my time, either shit or get off the pot?
Okay. It's gonna sound biased because I'm a dude, I guess. First of all, those ones that say they wasted their time, they know they've been chasing that same dude for the last 22 years since high school. So I don't even want to hear what they got to say. But I guess it depends, man, because in my opinion, every interaction there can be some value in it. Some you learn more about yourself, some lesson you learned there, some new skill you got, whatever. I was like, even my bad relationships that I was in, I learned a lot. I learned what not to tolerate. I learned more about myself, things that I needed to fix, and so on and so forth. So I think sometimes you actually ruin or tarnish your relationships by trying to place some kind of arbitrary timeline to progress in it. Because think about it. Think about it, you got with a guy and he's like, okay, yeah, we're going to date, but by year 2, we're going to get engaged. Year 3, we're going to get married. Year 5.5, we're going to buy a house. This is when we're going to have our first kid, so on and so forth. Imagine having to, like, dealing with that. Just think about it.
That seems like a lot. Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's necessarily a timeline for things. I think you have to let your relationships progress as they're going to.
Yeah. Now, I would say this. There's a difference between someone you're allowing your relationship and working on your relationship to progress, and it may not work out that way, and there's someone stringing you along. I think that's the problem, is that we have a hard time differentiating between certain things. So someone stringing you along is someone when you know you're trying to leave or you're trying to move forward, and they'll say, oh yeah, we're going to do that. And they never, they never complete the task, or they never really do anything about it until you get mad at them again and they buy you something to make you feel better, and then they keep you back and keep you in that position. So I think that's the issue that some people are looking at, and I don't know if that's what happened with Diddy. I don't live with him, so we don't know what happened.
I mean, I think that was what I saw. Some of the cooler heads prevailing. They were like, well, it could just be their relationship ran its course. And like they said, Cassie is 32 years old. She's not old. She's not over the hill. She got to live a very lavish lifestyle. She got to travel. She got to have a lot of opportunities. She has her own money. And so I think that for them, it's probably very different. In 10 years of her life being, having that type of access is probably something that is really, really good.
Dang, now she better go back to being regular old Cassie. That's what. I don't know. Did she still got money from that one song she dropped?
Well, she had a whole CD, so I think that
nobody remembers it.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody remembers that particular CD.
I just remember that one song. I can't remember the
Me
name
and You.
of it. Yeah, there you go. Only reason I remember because she was. That's the only reason I remember, because she was like doing like some honey style dance routine in some kind of gym or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, she was probably like 16 or 17 years old. She was very, very young.
Yeah.
So, like I said, but she also she's a model. So she does print work. She looks fantastic. So I think that she has made far more money from modeling than she ever did from making music. But she's put out a few mixtapes. She has a couple of songs out recently that I really enjoyed. There's one called Love a Loser that was out maybe a year and a half ago. I really dig that song. Now I will say that she's the crown princess of making it sound like she can sing when she can't.
Mm-mm.
But overall,
her and Ashanti are the prime reason. They let you know that if you look good, you gonna be all right.
Sometimes it be that way, man. And more power to them. I wish them well. Good luck, everyone. The race is on to get a piece of Cassie, but I would assume after 11 years living with Diddy that she probably is not
ain't nobody gonna mount up to that, man.
Any of you regular niggas, but y'all can give it y'all's best shot.
Yeah, the dude at the local Walmart mechanic shop can't go roll up on her. Like, yo, Cassie, what's good, girl? I've been thinking about you last 11 years. What's up? Just saying.
But I will tell you that I think it's interesting as well, because I think, do you think that it being a waste of time varies depending on your tax bracket? Do you think that that wasting time depends on how much money the person has?
Absolutely, yes. And the only reason I say that is because if you meet if a man meets a woman, or a woman meets a man, or man, woman, whatever floats your boat, get it in. If that person is in a certain tax bracket, maybe six figures and up, or maybe high fives, it doesn't matter. The more patience you will have with that person versus if y'all both bringing in like 50 together.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it matters. But I like that. People always say that time is money, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what you get paid
And
for.
right. And so I think that you have to look at it right in kind of like the way you look at economics, right? There's such a thing as an opportunity cost.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that with relationships, in so much as we do not like to look at it that way, I think that's where that whole mindset of time being wasted comes from. Because if you spend 10 years with somebody and you have not built anything together, and y'all are still both working two dead end jobs, and nothing is better, and y'all argue all the time, and this person doesn't want to do anything better for themselves, then you do feel like you've given this person prime years of your life and nothing's gotten better and changed.
I would also tell that person this too. I know I don't like to come off this way, but I mean, I've told many people this too. Like, sometimes you got to change yourself, and honestly, sometimes folks ain't gonna follow you. It's just things you got to kind of realize. So I've heard people say that, but I've also heard people use that as a reason on why they were kept back, because I guess the other person didn't push them in some way. But I do understand that. Like, if we're rocking and we've been together 15 years, and we are in the same position we were in year one, then maybe there is a need for a change. Maybe we aren't good together.
Yeah, and I think it takes a certain level of maturity and growth to realize that. Sometimes you do have to kind of step back out of it, and they say people can't, you can't see the forest for the trees, and I think sometimes you do kind of have to step back out of the trees, look at the entire forest, and make some judgment calls. I think you do have to kind of examine yourself and your relationship and be like, okay, well, is this progressing in a way that I'm comfortable with? Do I feel like the trajectory here is going to make me satisfied in what's going on here? Because like you were saying, it just depends on what a lot of it depends on what your end goals are as well. Because if your end goal is to eventually marry this person, and you're 20 years down the line and they look like they have no intent of marrying you, then you may feel like you wasted your time because the goals that you set are not being met.
See, I don't know. I'm going to ask you this. Is it a waste of, okay, I'm going to give you two scenarios. So, with that being said, what goals have we set? How many people are really having those discussions? And is that a discussion you have prior to even getting into a relationship with somebody? I mean, because I look at it like things like dating, that's an interview. Really. We're dating to see if you even qualify for us to even take it to that type of relationship.
No, and I agree. I think that people very often have this thing where they don't want to have the difficult conversations in their relationship. And like you were saying, people do get strung along because they are emotionally manipulated by the other person, and the person is comfortable, so they don't want this other person to leave. So they're just like, oh, well, we'll get to it, and I'm working on it, and it's at a third. But I think that you definitely do have to put your foot down at some point and have a reasonable conversation with somebody, especially if y'all claim to love each other and care about each other. The conversation needs to be had at some point, because you need to touch base and make sure that you're on the same page.
Yeah. I mean,
all other things aside, if you can't sit with this person and be like, these are the goals that I would like for us to accomplish. You don't have to have a timeline for these things. You don't have to necessarily be like, it needs to happen this time, this time, this time. But I feel like in order for you to feel happy and fulfilled in your relationship, you do have to feel like you and this person are at least facing the same way, looking into the same part of the sky with your dreams to make them you have to at least be on the same page about what you're wanting, in order to progress any. Because if I'm on page 2 over here and I'm saying, I would eventually like us to get married, and you're on page 26, and you're like, girl, I'm not ever getting married. This is just what we're gonna be doing. That's gonna be a hard pill to swallow when y'all finally meet in the middle and you realize this person is not ever gonna marry you.
Hey, look.
And then the other person realizes that that I'm telling this person I'm not ever going to get married, and now I'm going to possibly lose this person after I fall in love with them because I didn't want to get married.
Yeah, and that's a lot, and that's why I say those are conversations that you talk about prior. Like, what's your views on marriage? What's your views on children? All those questions that you have to ask those, because it's, in my opinion, there's nothing worse than getting surprises 5, 6, 7 years in.
Yeah, that's got to be crazy to wake up 5 years in a relationship and have some woman knocking on your door with an 8-year-old with a backpack on, like, well, you know what, he really needs to get his son.
And you're like, whoa, when this happened? Oh, remember that time I was mad at you and we had broken up for like 30 minutes? Yeah.
Wait, 30 minutes?
Hey, man,
no.
It's on deck. Hey, yeah, it's good.
No,
I'm a free
30 minutes. No. But yeah, I don't know. People, I think it's just, like I said, I think we live in this whole type of society where people date people they don't like. Like, you date people you don't like. Y'all are afraid to tell them that the sex that you're having is bad. You're afraid to tell these people that they've hurt your feelings. You're afraid to tell them that you're concerned about the stuff that they're doing. You're afraid to stick up for yourself. You're afraid to put your foot down. You're afraid to pick your foot up. You're afraid to turn around too hard. You're afraid to breathe deep. Like, it's just, I don't get why you would want to be in a relationship with somebody that you could not fully be yourself with. I mean, and I get, to some extent, we all put on facades to some extent. We all try to mask parts of ourselves. But at the end of the day, if you aren't able to have the conversations with people regarding the things that you consider deal breakers or the things that are most important to you, then why are they important to you?
I totally agree. And it's funny. I was talking with shout outs to Eric. He actually out in LA right now.
Hey, Eric.
And I actually had that conversation with him. I think, me, I was going to actually hit you over this next, but, because I hit him up and I was like, what levels of trust do you feel like you have with me and all that type of stuff? Because I was telling him that the more I kind of really look at it, we are the most phony to when it comes to the people we're closest to versus those people we don't know. And what I mean by that is, you look at a situation like so many things that you may not want to tell your parents about you. So many things you're afraid to tell your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend or just the person you're kicking it with. You don't want them to know certain things about you. Certain things you may tell a friend, certain things you may not. But you see a stranger on the street, you have no issues telling them when to do it, how to do it, kiss your ass, I will fight you, all these different things. And it kind of goes down to the idea of maintaining a relationship is a lot harder than if there isn't one formed at all.
Yeah, I think that we do kind of adjust our settings, so to speak, when we're in relationships. I think that we do try to be more kind and more understanding, and slightly less harsh than we probably would be if we didn't care about the person. But I do think there is a vast difference between you trying to be a version of yourself that is able to mesh well with people that you care about and you being a sociopath. Like, I feel like there are a lot of stops in between that, right? And I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with. But there's a lot of space in between you being a complete sociopath and being the next BTK while your family's like, oh yeah, it's totally cool, it's a deacon at the church. And he rescued 10 homeless, drowning puppies last week.
But like,
I think there's a vast difference between you being on that end of the spectrum and secretly being a murderer, and you just being one of those people where you learn to keep the peace. You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, and I think that sometimes we just expect the people that we care about to be as honest with us as possible, but that's hard to do because those people can hurt your feelings and you can hurt theirs.
Mm-hmm.
We don't
So
care about hurting somebody we don't know's feelings, but we do care about having to hurt the feelings of somebody that we live with and have to deal with every day.
okay, so with that being said, the fact that our feelings can be involved, um, even though because there's two things. One, you can't save people from their feelings. I mean, that's almost a winless battle. You're not going to win that one because people are going to feel however they're going to feel. That's why I do say, even though it sounds harsh, I can't make you feel any way because I can't change your feelings. You feel that way because of that's how you reacted to it, or that's how it makes you feel on the but it was I don't know, man. It's just like, with that being said, do we almost, I would say coach, but do we almost create the environment to where people are going to be not as honest? Because it's like we tell all our friends, man, look, I want you to be able to come to me anytime. It doesn't matter what. I want you to be able to tell me anything. It doesn't matter what. Just let it go. But then if go off on them when they do, people are going to be like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that again. So we just going to bypass this conversation altogether.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it, right? I think that if you expect people to be able to come to you in an honest capacity, then you have to be willing to deal with whatever comes with that honesty. And I think that is the growth that most people struggle with, because it's very much like getting constructive criticism. I think that's something that's very hard for a lot of people. They just feel like people are, hating on them or don't want them to be successful, or, oh, you just don't like it, or you're jealous. And I don't think that that's it. I think that you can come to people in a way that is constructive, or you can come to people and be honest, and they should be able to take that with some form of humility and be able to observe it for what it is. Because I would think that in so much as we lie because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings, that person should care and respect you, care about you enough and respect you enough to know that you are not going to tell them something that you are saying maliciously or with malicious intent. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of it also has to do with the ways in which we trust the people in our lives that we claim to love or have tight relationships with. I think a lot of it has to do with our ability to trust these people.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess the moral of that is keep telling the bartender and the stripper all your truths. They ain't gonna tell nobody. That's what we do here.
Don't forget your hairdresser.
Yeah, the barber. That's funny. Like, really, the barber, the stripper, the hairdresser, and the bartender are like they're like glorified counselors.
Yeah, they should. Y'all should definitely get your barbers and beauticians something for whatever their national day is. A day for everything, so it's gotta be one for them. So make sure you get them a nice present. Make sure you tipping them good, since you unloading all your problems on them like they're trained therapists. Mm-hmm. Yeah, y'all, self-care is important. So if your self-care got to come from your barber and your beautician, instead of you just getting a licensed therapist, like, hey, you need to make sure you're tipping them good for that.
Hey, you right. I understand. Therapy's expensive. You gotta get it how you can, man.
Amen. That one.
Oh man, dang, this went by quick. It's been a minute, man. But we gotta save some for next time though. So V, tell the folks where you are and where they can find.
I'm in the same places that I have always been. I am on Twitter. That is at BJ_Burton. On Instagram, it is always the same. It is at BJ_Burton as well. On Snapchat, it is Meek B. I've not posted anything in a while, but I'm on there. I watch your snaps. Y'all are hilarious, so I enjoy that bit of sunshine in my day. So definitely add me. I mean, I will occasionally comment on things that you post and whatnot. So I promise I'm actually like a good follower on Snapchat. I may just not post a whole bunch. But I don't think I have anything else to announce other than that. Shout out to Jaden from the Unapologetic podcast in Atlanta, and Empress Nick, who is one half of Let's Keep It 100 on IGTV with I'm Just Jackie. They hosted a very successful event maybe 2 weekends ago on the Pod Connection Atlanta. Sorry we didn't get to come out.
I'm going next year.
We're gonna definitely. They're supposed to be having another one. They're thinking about Texas or LA maybe.
Oh,
So
man.
we're hoping that whenever you guys do that, we will be able to show up and show out. It looked like a blast. So congrats on a very successful event. I don't think that I'm missing anything else.
I just want to say shout out to D Murph. He dropped his book.
Yes.
I do not have the title with me right now. Dang. Matter of fact, I don't even have my Twitter pulled up. My daughter got my phone. You remember?
I don't remember, but congrats to you, Murph. I'll tweet some links or something like that. Another friend of ours, a friend of the show, she goes by at Queen Poison on Twitter. She is writing a book of poetry and she's looking to get some funding to publish. I will tweet about it. I've been retweeting the link for her. She's a creative. She does some really, really amazing work. She occasionally posts her work on IG and Twitter so you can get a kind of idea of what she does. She's really, really great. This would be her first book, so she's kind of looking for donations. If you cannot donate anything, by all means, if you see it come across your timeline, just retweet it and share it, because I think she's really doing some dope work, and I like to be able to support creatives when we can.
Okay. Hey, shout outs. Hey, I'm gonna hop back on just to retweet that. I do also gotta say, man, shout out to John from the John Effect Podcast. He did at me in one of the posts. I did look. John wasn't ignoring. When you tweeted, I was at work and I was like, okay, let me tweet back, and then work happened. So my bad, dog.
Anything else that we're forgetting?
Let me see. Hold up. Not right offhand, no. Nah. Oh. I mean, just. Oh, you got. Go ahead.
I got one. So Kayla, who used to co-host this show with us, and is now co-hosting part-time she is a part of the Pod Panel podcast, the Pod Panel. You can find her there, and then she occasionally is a guest contributor. I would say, I guess, with Podcast Brothers as well. But Kayla has launched a website. It is, I believe, KaylaIsCreative.com, I believe is what it's called. But she is, it's a blog. She writes things, all types of tips, travel, food, all things. Kayla is super dope, super proud of her and all the things that she's been able to accomplish this year. So carry on, Sweet Pea. It looks great. So if you guys get a chance, go check that out and support her, because we definitely love her and want her to be super great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. Shout outs. Hey, everybody more talented than me in the writing aspect. I am not a writer.
It's not our wheelhouse. We're definitely math and science technical people. We'll write you a technical journal all day long, but we are not the creative podcasting. That's not our ministry.
Right. If you need me to write a essay on the harms of a certain subject, then cool. Research all that stuff, all APA citing and everything. But if you tell me to write some poetry, I'm out of there.
Yeah, it's not. Please don't push play for that, because we don't have to read them. Right?
Yeah, man, we gonna write our own haikus and come on here and read them to you. It's gonna be like damn near like Dr. Seuss. But anyway,
Quentin, where can these nice people find you?
Oh man, I'm in the same places. Haven't been peeking my head out, but eventually, I'm trying, man. It's just trying to spread my time out. But you already know I still am on Twitter at _Q_the_great. I promise, just at me. I promise I'll respond. I had to go and stop V from bullying some guy on there, and just let him know that his opinion didn't mean much. But I am still on Facebook too, and I am still on Instagram. I'm gonna start reposting some things. I got some cheer pictures I could put the baby on there, so I'm gonna get it back active.
Well, I think that is us for us. That's for us here. So new listeners, welcome. Old listeners, thank you for rocking with us and
all my
being patient with us. and being patient with us, and ramping up for season 2. Like we always promise to be better. And hey, man, just keep being patient with us. We're gonna get there. God's not finished working on us, so we're working on us too.
That's right. Hey man, other than that, we about folks.
Laters.